You know what time it is, folks. It is time for episode 32 of the Rick Chappell podcast. How you doing? How you been? How's your week? Happy Sunday. It's a holiday, right? I don't know if you celebrate the Easter weekend here. I guess it's a big Jesus thing. I don't know, man. It's a couple days off work for those of you that do that. For those of us that aren't working right now, it's kind of just another weekend. But hey, long weekends are great in their own way, right? Without further ado, let's fire it into your comments this week. We got a couple. So what do we got first up? Good old Sam. Oh, she's commenting because she missed last week. So I'm sorry I didn't see you live. Oh, on the live stream, sorry. I've been working like a damn slave. Sorry to hear that. So I come home hating everything related to computers or screens after a lot of work. Sometimes I hate my own phone. However, it's gratifying to listen to you. Oh, thank you. The clear sound of that guitar is nice, right? That good old ambient swell. Have I got good news for you then later on in this podcast, Sam? Don't you worry. Next up, Mad Ease Sounds. Oh, that's going to be my friend Maddie, I bet. Dude, such electric energy. The song is fucking sick. You nailed it. It's a whole vibe and you're incredible. I should mention this was on the Song in a Day cut number 8 for the song Rollin'. I want an album. I can help with the art. Send me some art, Maddie. I'm always down to see stuff. And when you do releases, you need so much more art than you realize. Like, you make a cover and then you're like, oh, but then you need something for promo. And then you need something to, like, cut into bits of video, and then you need something to make into the canvas on Spotify, and then do you want to make a YouTube video? Well, you should probably put something on that. So you can get so lost with one song, you need 17 million pieces of artwork. But yeah, send away any art. I also sent you a link to the albums I've got so far, so I do have some records if that's your thing. Okay, next comment up is on the Deep Peace guitar solo cover on my good old Jimi Hendrix Strat that is currently for sale if you're interested. The only part of the solo that matters is where he breaks into the arpeggio, which is a perfect G minor arpeggio in standard tuning. It's the same arpeggio in any tuning, fun fact. It's like listening to classical, where this was obviously derived from. Probably. He's a musical genius, I'll give you that. Brings me to tears nearly every time. You nailed it though, but get some buckers. That song and that part, I don't need humbuckers, that's why I did what I did. But thank you for that. It is a beautiful solo. The Deep Peace guitar solo was the first project, I think, and one of the few that I sort of tackled around the pandemic time when I was just chilling at home. I was like, I got time to learn this solo I've always wanted to learn, And truth to be told, it's not necessarily the most difficult solo in the world, like, it doesn't have all the shreddy stuff in it. But it has very interesting timing things, and it doesn't repeat itself, and some stretches, and it's definitely hard. So go watch that video if you want. That's a really, really fun guitar solo I did. Next up is Last Up, good old Sam again, but this is on the podcast, so last week's episode. You have a really jealous cat. The ambient album is a great idea. Oh, that's the news, but there's more about it. Maybe you can relax me when I feel like hitting my noisy neighbors. They sound like parrots at night when I want to sleep. That sounds awful. By the way, what happened to your neighbor responsible for the scratched door? I don't necessarily remember that. Was scratched door. The problem with the podcast is I tell a lot of stories, so I don't remember a scratched door story. At least definitely not in this place. But if you remember it, please give me some more details, and I will fill in the blanks. But I got nothing on that one. So with that awkward ending of comments, let's end comments there. Now we'll do the other thing that we do on the podcast, which is where I just fill you in on all the musical shenanigan and whatnot that I've been doing this week. So let's flip the pile over backwards and start at Monday. What do we do on Monday there? On Monday, I finalized the ambient album I've been teasing towards. So if you head over to my website, you can learn the name of it and everything. There is teasers of it sort of floating around already. It's called Sanctuary. And I believe it's going to be, essentially it's called Sanctuary 1 because I'm going to do a bunch of these things is the plan. Maybe one a year or so is kind of the goal for that. One ambient album and one song filled album a year is a healthy goal, I think. So I need to get back to Outlier after I finally release Sanctuary here. It comes out May 2nd, so I'll do tons more promo. There'll be plenty of talk about it on the podcast over the next month. And probably 2 or 3 months, honestly. But yeah, it's an ambient record that I'm super proud of so far. I think it turned out really well, and all the art came together in a way that, I don't know, it all clicked and made sense. So I've got like the YouTube version of it to check out. There'll be Apple, Spotify. On Spotify, it has like the video thing, so it'll look good. I made all those tracks today. That took forever. It's so much work to release music. Like, thankfully, this project has no vocals. Therefore, there are no lyrics. So I don't have to worry about typing out all the lyrics and syncing them with all the streaming services and whatnot. But I forget just how much work it is. It's a good reminder, though, before I get to making the song album. Just how to do it and keep the muscles fresh, on releasing your own music and doing it all by yourself, which is an interesting way to do it these days, but it's incredibly possible. So hey, why not? But yeah, head over to rickchappell.com if you want to see the like more details and the name of that and whatnot. I think there's even a teaser for it that's probably already there. Oh, shouldn't have flipped the pile. We're going from the bottom up. That's the point of it. What do we do on Tuesday? Rookie mistake. Tuesday was a Song in a Day live stream. How can I forget? I wrote a song this week. What can I tell you about it? It's way more rocky than the week prior. That one was really soft and gentle, and this one was full-on distortion and some screamy bits by the mid part. It got a lot more rock and roll. And then the past couple days, I've been polishing it up a little bit, so I'll show you the newer version of it when we get there. But I added some stuff to it and whatnot. The song itself started off just incredibly simple, like just wah da da, like even the same drum beat the whole time. So I've just been swapping things out and kind of changing parts up and making it more interesting and whatnot. But the live stream went really well. This week we had more comments than ever before. It seems to, in the YouTube algorithm, catch strangers in a way a couple hours in. So that's cool. I usually get some subscribers out of the thing. So hey, thanks for that, guys. If you're here, check out the podcast after that. I'm the guy that wrote that song. And yeah, I'll do it again on Tuesday at noon. That's my current schedule. So if you can make that, awesome. If you can't, sorry. But Tuesday at noon PST is where when that's going down. And then right after, though, as soon as I post it, I download it, I compress it, I do all the things, and then I cut it down into like a just more manageable bite-sized sort of video. So it's last couple ones were like a half hour or 20 minutes-ish around there. And it's just me actually recording the bits that became music and maybe a part of the kitty cat if she runs by or does something cute. Sort of like a highlight reel, of the 4 or 5 or 3, whatever hour it is, live stream. So it's made for a bit of extra editing work, but hey, those videos are kind of neat too. So I don't think everybody has time for 5 hours of watching somebody try to think of lyrics. So sometimes it's nice just to get to the point a little more. Firing right through on Wednesday here. I don't have the Kevin camera hooked up to be able to show you just how clean my desk is. But I did a whole new desk remodel. I don't even know if you can see on camera aside from maybe this thing is in a little different place. But essentially, I use a dual PC or dual Mac setup for streaming and recording videos. So I have an iMac on my desk. That's what I'm using for Logic and recording music, and that's my computer. And then I had a laptop beside me too that was running all the cameras and everything in OBS, so I could screen record the iMac when I'm doing the live streams, the songwriting, and it just kept everything happy and separate and really easy to work with. But having 2 computers on one desk is a lot. So I've now tucked the laptop just closed and over behind and leaned it up against something. So it's got plenty of space to cool around and everything. And I'm just running it into my TV, so at least I can see it with a little laptop and, keyboard and mouse. So you're way up there, not over there anymore. But now I have room for drinks and stuff. Which is very handy when it comes to, having a desk. I also moved my synthesizer off there, but you can't quite see that and put an Xbox just because it made more sense to be there. There was actually room for Kevin, and I was hoping to show you that, but then the Xbox took precedent because I moved a synthesizer, which allowed more stuff to be moved. But anyways, if you can't see all that, we're not going to waste too much time because I move shit in this room every single week, and we're always rebuilding a studio to make it the most refined, awesome thing I can. And if you haven't noticed, that should be a pattern. I wish I kind of learned that lesson a little earlier. Was I went through a period of being like, oh, I just gotta like get this thing, and then we're done. Or we'll plug in that thing, and then we're done. But you know that's not true. There's always new stuff. There's always problems. There's always gremlins. There's always something that'll fail or, need to be replaced over time. So sometimes if you are just waiting to build your studio before you write your song, you're going to build your studio and then realize that you still could have been writing songs and you're no good at it. Not that I think I'm no good at it, but I've gone through periods where I'm no good at it, that's for sure. So you gotta exercise those muscles, basically, is what I'm getting at. As I say, I'm gonna stop talking about moving stuff around the studio. Guess what I did Thursday? Move stuff around the studio. So I found a delay pedal from before that I wanted to add to all this, and it turns out the reason I had essentially put it away was that it didn't work. So I plugged it all in and made everything light up, and then troubleshot for a while, and then was like, oh yeah, smart. But then I did dial in some new ambient sounds, and there actually is another pedal. Here, I'll see if you can hear it. That's on. And that's off. That's on again. Basically, I put another reverb pedal in the loop of the infinite tape echo. So that's going really well. The next ambient album will be even cooler, basically, is the point I'm getting at there. What else we got? We're firing right through. We're at 12 minutes, and I'm on to Friday already, so we're going to have to come up with some stories, I'm sure. Oh, I'm going to unplug this guitar for a second, actually, and show you, because the next thing up is on Friday. I worked on the song, and I also made a new bass guitar tone, because one of the things that was bugging me about the mix I had last time on the stream and everything was the bass tone. I wasn't loving it. So, got a new one for you. Basically, the issue was pretty simple. I had dialed in the previous tone around my 5-string bass, which has a incredibly powerful preamp in it that you can get really sculpty with. So when I went to use this non-active bass with no preamp in it, it just didn't have the dynamics and the stuff it needed, you know? Make some noise. There you go. So now I've got everything just lined up a little better. And yeah, it's rumbly. Right? It sounds rumbly. I'm going to turn up my headphones and also turn up the bass just so I don't deafen you guys. And you know, I will actually do the whole signal chain rundown, because why not? It's a fun thing. We can get right behind it, right? Let's just zero that part out for a second. So I'll turn the things on and off for you so you can get a real feel for it. So one sec. Okay, we're going to run it like that for now. So, everything off in this weird chain. The bass guitar itself sounds like this. Oh, no, there's still something on. There you go. When you plug your bass guitar in your computer, it'll sound like that. We then have an Ampeg SVT. I'll show you that first. We'll kind of build backwards for a second. So that's just going from your DI sound to an amp. But to make it sound awesome, we've got some pedals. So first up is an MXR Dynacomp. Off. off, and then on. You can hear it doesn't make it louder, but it brings up the quiet parts of the note. Then we've got a B7K. Doing a little bit of preamp stuff. Sorry, I'm not looking at you because I'm trying to explain what's going on. So a little bit of preamp stuff, and it's blending in some fuzz underneath the clean tone. And then I have a DBX EQ. That is rack mounted and fun. And yeah, you can throw chorus on it if you want, or any, fun effects. Or just run it dry. Bass is fun and never gets the respect it deserves. And yeah, that's how I spent most of my day yesterday, was probably rattling the neighbors apart a little bit too much and dialing in a bass tone. Now, I didn't rattle too much. There's currently no subwoofer in here, so not a lot of rattling goes on. And dialing in a bass tone without a subwoofer may seem a little bit different, but it's really important to dial in a great and important mid-range. So I can always add a sub later to this room and then, readjust the EQ a little bit, and refine that sub. But until then, now we're good. So back to the guitar for a second. Let's get that silly B7K out of there and bring back in all the tape echo. There we go. Man, we are really flying through the podcast today, man. It's already 17 minutes in. I also updated choices. So here, now's the part where we're gonna debut that song, or at least the changes of it that have been made since the live stream. So for those that maybe just watch the podcast or just watching the podcast for the first time, on Sundays here we do the podcast, and on Tuesdays I go live on YouTube and write a song completely from scratch. So the latest example of doing that was on Tuesday this week. I wrote a song called Choices, and then I have since updated it. So the stream ended about 5 hours, and then I've plucked away at it here and there after dinner or whatnot, added a few strings, changed the structure a tiny bit, and I'm not going to spoil it too much, but here, I'll play it for you, and we'll kind of narrate the changes. And, you adjust the mix and update it, make it better. So parts of the mix could still probably be improved. But what else? Yeah, like I said, added strings and touched things up. And yeah, if you like this song, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these songs just yet. The whole point for me right now is just to write them live on stream every week. With comments, without comments, whatever. If you have input, that's fun to put in it, but sometimes you're not there, so I just write it. But if I'm going to put them on an album, if I'm going to do whatever, I don't know. I don't know until I write it. If it's a song I love, well, yeah, I'll probably release it for sure, in a way. A lot of the times I write it and then I don't like it at the end of the night. And then in a couple days I like it a little more, after I've tweaked it, like in this case. So maybe I'll release an album of just all the Song in a Day songs, or my top 10 at the end of the year or something. Who knows? If I do one of these a week all year, that's going to be more than 10 songs. So I'm sure I'll like at least 10. And that's sort of the point of the Song in a Day 2 thing. Like I have an album that's almost done that I just need to do some vocals on. So this is also a good way to sing and get things warmed up and make sure, like I said, that the bass tone's dialed in or whatever. It flexes all the muscles of songwriting and recording. So inevitably, hopefully, it just improves the quality of everything you do, Like all those awful notes that are in that vocal. But that's what happens when you do it for the first time. Oh, and there's an extension in the new strings. I should stop talking. Transition. The song's better now. You just have to put in changes. Keeps it far more interesting than when I just loop the ideas. So, another point I should make about... get out of the way of the change there. I don't love that transition still. I'm working on that one. But like I was saying, if I worked this song enough to the point where I loved it, then maybe, yeah, there's just a song in a day album. This part's good. It's the most catchy part in my brain so far. The chorus, well, I have so many criticisms, of this song that there's a reason I'm not so stoked that I'm talking about releasing it next month or something, But it's good. I'm proud of it, and definitely for doing it live on camera, let's put it that way. And this is probably the best part is the outro, so I'll get out of the way for a second. So my voice is kind of coming and going, and like you hear it in the mix. It's the demo in a lot of ways. It's also interesting, I noticed that 5 hours in, my ears are shot. Like, my headphones are cranked, and the drums are super loud when I listen back to it and stuff. So the next day, I always have a way better mix of it, too. So there's almost always a version to share, I guess, on the podcast on Sunday. So, hey, it all comes together. Anyways, that was my Friday. I don't know about your Friday. It was good. That was so bad. What about Saturday? It just says photos. Oh, I took a bunch of photos of the studio. I'll put them up here right now. I sent them off to somebody who'd been asking for photos for a while, so that, if I want to record people or do any other work in here, it's good to show people the studio space. Not everybody wants to watch a bunch of YouTube videos, so here, I'll throw them on screen here real quick. Here's the studio from a couple more angles than you usually see it. So there's the bed in here now. There's guitars abundantly everywhere. There's kittens that pop up inevitably and whatnot. I was essentially just trying to give a rundown of what's in here. So I'll probably even post a portion of this on the website one day or something. I don't know. Anyways, that was photos of the studio. Did that this morning, honestly. So there you are. And then here, we got a guitar again. So let's show you the other new thing I made. I'll get a little bit of ambience going here. And we'll do the key of like F sharp minor. I redialed in my amp. Hopefully that's not like always deafening us. Got the ambient stuff going too if I want it, obviously. For those that don't know, my amp hiding behind us, where is it there? Oh, we're in single coil mode. I'm like, why is it so scrangly? Get all that reverb out of there. I was that part of the podcast. I'm like, listen to this quiet guitar. And the other part of the podcast is like... I'm still kind of messing with it. I don't know how much I love that scoop. You can disable a chunk of it. Yeah, I think I like it a little less scoop. But yeah. More stuff is more, And for a lead tone, don't get me wrong, that scoop is absolutely... And the reason I'm reaching over here, not back there, for the scoop, by the way, is the DBX equalizer is a 2-channel equalizer. 1 channel I use for bass, 1 channel I use for guitar. So I'm reaching back to the guitar channel. Throw the GP100 underneath of it, for that big echo. Turn down that big echo so it's not so big. And then I can fade in the ambience. And yeah, I don't think the next ambient release is going to sound like this. But it's really fun to mess around with guitar that way. Let's put it that way. And then I'll let that ambience die off for a second and show you another sort of ambient tone I've created. Because with this specific chain I made to do just this sound, you know, this like wishy wash. It's great, and most of it relies on a line 6 delay pedal. Oh my god, that hasn't even been on for a while? Never mind. Well, I've been showing you the whole time. Wow. There's your fail for the week. Oh, that's cool. It's dead. So currently there is no power to that pedal. Somehow it's still passing signal beautifully. So that's neat. But remember how early on in the podcast I said things will go wrong? Things have gone wrong. And that's just poetic. I think it just came slightly unplugged. Like, it's not the end. Everything else is lighting up and everything, and it has a weird power adapter, so I'm not freaking out. But, of course. We got one more post-it note. What's on it? Oh, the extra little stuff I did. So, if you head over to www. You know what's coming. rickchappell.com. RACKCHAPPELL.com. You will see it's been updated. So it no longer says I'm the age I'm not. I put it more accurate. I'm not doing the Hollywood thing where I'm 23 forever. I will be the age I am. And I'll throw some vid on screen right now too for you. And then I made a discography page so you can see some of the albums, because we're getting to the point where I almost have something you could call a discography. So hopefully by the end of the year, there's a couple more things chilling up there. And yeah, it's got links to the social medias and all those other things too, or whatever other profiles or platforms you happen to be on. I'm not active on many of them. YouTube is pretty much the main one that I've been like posting stuff on. But if you like Spotify, there's music there. If you like Apple Music, there's music there. You know, those kinds of things are obviously linked everywhere. And there's a couple of TikToks I've made of the kitty cat, or, you know, Instagrams of me going, if you watch or are into these other things. You know, I'm not trying to get famous here, but everything's out there for those people that enjoy those things. Let's put it that way. Speaking of what I am trying to do, what I'm going to do tonight is the main part, and that's just go play music with some buddies. Heading over to a town a couple minutes away called Yarrow. Tiny little village, basically, in the corner of a valley beside a mountain. Beautiful. So beautiful. And yeah, some friends of mine have it was a patio that they enclosed and did a great job. Same ones that built the chicken coop studio that I used to own with them. They have an enclosed studio now at their home. It's basically what they did when we moved out of there. And it's great. So we're going to go there, make a bunch of noise, and hang out. So everybody's down from visiting other places. And yeah, who doesn't love doing that? So with that, we're almost at the half-hour mark. That's amazing. That's, the fact that we did it to that close, that's something. That's something, folks. So what did we talk about this week? We talked about the new ambient album mainly, which I know I've been blabbing about for weeks and weeks and weeks, but it's sort of the accumulation of the podcast in a lot of ways, because the podcast started when I was playing ambient guitar and talking about guitars, and it's literally the ambient thing that I fell in love with and decided to share with you. So there's also another part of it I should mention. There's an ambient 8-hour version of it I'm releasing. So it's only an hour of music I've made, or like 52 minutes of this kind of echoey guitar sound. But I looped it for 8 hours, like with no outro, no intro kind of thing. So if you're studying or trying to sleep or anything like that, that's for you. So there you go. Hopefully you like those kinds of things. I make all kinds of other stuff. I'm sure some of those are on the screen by now. I've been Rick Chappell. You've been wonderful. Thank you so much for watching these videos. The podcast comes out every Sunday. I stream every Tuesday. And I'll see you next week. Adios.